June 6, 1944. 6:30 a.m. Omaha Beach, Normandy, France. Private First Class Charles Shea wades through chest-deep water. Bullets snap past his head like angry hornets. Men are screaming. Men are drowning. The water around him turns red. Shea is a medic with the 16th Infantry Regiment, 1st Infantry Division. The big red one. He's 19 years old, a Penobscot Indian from Maine, and he's carrying 60 pounds of medical equipment into the most heavily defended beach in Europe. No rifle. No grenades. Just bandages, morphine, and sulfanilamide powder. The Geneva Convention says medics are non-combatants. They wear red crosses on their helmets and armbands. They don't carry weapons. Enemy soldiers aren't supposed to shoot them. The Germans on Omaha Beach don't care about the Geneva Convention. What happens over the next 24 hours will be the bloodiest day in American military medical history. 2,400 Americans will die on Omaha Beach. Another 1,800 will be wounded. And a handful of medics, most of them barely old enough to drink, will run into machine gun fire over and over and over again to drag their brothers out of the surf. This is the story of the American Medics of Normandy. The men who didn't carry guns. The men who ran toward the screaming. The men who saved thousands of lives while German bullets tore through the air around them. Charles Shea hits the beach. Immediately, he sees casualties. Everywhere. Men cut down in the water. Men blown apart by artillery. Men with their guts spilling out, crying for their mothers. Standard Army doctrine says a medic should establish an aid station, wait for casualties to be brought to him. On Omaha Beach, there is no aid station. There is no safe place. There is only chaos and death, and the desperate need to help. Shea runs forward. A soldier lies in the surf, unconscious, face down in the water. He's drowning. Shea grabs him, drags him up the beach, out of the water. The man isn't breathing. Shea starts chest compressions. German machine gun fire stitches the sand around them. Bullets crack overhead. Shea keeps working. The soldier coughs, vomits seawater, gasps for air. He's alive. Shea moves to the next man. Then the next. Then the next. He will spend the entire day running back and forth between the water and the seawall, pulling wounded men from the surf, stopping bleeding, administering morphine, covering sucking chest wounds, all while German guns on the bluffs above pour fire down onto the beach. Shea will treat 30 men that day. He'll be nominated for the Silver Star. But he's not unique. He's one of dozens of medics doing the same thing all across Omaha Beach. Let's talk about what it means to be a combat medic. The training is brutal. 12 weeks of infantry basic training, then 36 weeks of medical training at places like Camp Pickett, Virginia, or Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania. You learn anatomy, emergency surgery, disease prevention, how to treat gunshot wounds, how to stop arterial bleeding, how to identify and treat shock. You learn to work fast. In combat, you have minutes, sometimes seconds. A severed femoral artery, a man can bleed out in 90 seconds. A sucking chest wound, he drowns in his own blood. You have to stabilize him, get him to the battalion aid station, keep him alive long enough for real doctors to save him. The medics who landed at Normandy knew all of this. What they didn't know, what nobody told them, was how it would feel. The smell of blood and burning flesh. The sounds men make when they're dying. The weight of knowing that the man you're working on, the man whose life is in your hands, might die because you weren't fast enough or skilled enough or lucky enough. Most of the medics at Normandy were 18, 19, 20 years old. Kids, really. The Army physical examiner would look at them and see clean-cut American boys. Fresh faces eager to serve. The German machine gunners on the bluffs above Omaha Beach didn't see boys. They saw targets. Robert Wright is a medic with the 116th Infantry Regiment, 29th Infantry Division. Virginia National Guard boys mostly. Men who'd grown up together, trained together, shipped to England together. Now they're dying together on a beach in France. Wright hits Omaha Beach in the second wave. The ramp drops. Men in front of him fall before they even reach the water. Machine gun fire, so thick it sounds like one continuous roar. Wright makes it to the beach. A soldier lies behind a steel beach obstacle, both legs shattered by artillery. He's screaming, a high-pitched keening that cuts through the gunfire. Wright runs to him, drops beside him, pulls out his morphine syrettes. The morphine syrettes are small tubes, like toothpaste tubes, with a needle on one end. You jam the needle into the soldier's thigh, squeeze the tube, the morphine goes in. Then you pin the empty tube to the soldier's collar, so the next medic knows he's already been dosed. Too much morphine can kill a man as surely as a bullet. Wright injects the morphine, pulls out his sulfanilamide powder, dumps it on the wounds to prevent infection, ties on tourniquets, tight enough to stop the bleeding, but not tight enough to kill the tissue. The whole time, bullets are snapping past his head. One round hits his medical bag, tears through it, scatters bandages across the sand. Wright stabilizes the soldier, calls for litter bearers. Nobody comes. Everyone is pinned down. So Wright grabs the soldier, throws him over his shoulder in a fireman's carry, and runs for the seawall. He makes it. The soldier survives. Wright goes back for another. Here's what makes the medics of Normandy different from other soldiers. Other soldiers, when they hit the beach, their job is to find cover, return fire, advance when possible. Self-preservation is part of the mission. Stay alive so you can fight. Medics don't have that luxury. Their job is to run toward the wounded. And the wounded are always in the worst places. In the open. In the line of fire. In the exact spots where any sane person would refuse to go. The medics go anyway. Edward Morazwicks, a medic with Company A, 116th Infantry Regiment, lands at 6:35 a.m. His company takes 96% casualties in the first 10 minutes. 96%. Almost everyone is dead or wounded. Morazwicks survives the initial landing. Immediately starts treating casualties. A soldier with his arm blown off. Another with shrapnel in his chest. A third with half his face gone, still somehow alive. Morazwicks works for hours. At some point, a German sniper starts targeting him. The red cross on his helmet marks him clearly. The sniper doesn't care. 2 rounds crack past Morazwicks' head. A third hits his medical bag. Morazwicks doesn't stop. Can't stop. Men are dying. He's the only medic still alive in his sector. If he doesn't help them, nobody will. By the end of the day, Morazwicks has treated 40 men. He'll be awarded the Silver Star. He'll also have nightmares for the rest of his life about the men he couldn't save. Let's talk about the equipment a medic carries. The M1911 pistol is optional. Some medics carry one, most don't. The Geneva Convention says medics are non-combatants, which means they're not supposed to engage in combat. Carrying a weapon makes you a combatant. Makes you a legitimate target. On Omaha Beach, the Germans are shooting medics anyway. Red Cross or not. So some medics figure they might as well carry a pistol. Others refuse. If they die, they'll die as medics, not soldiers. The medical bag weighs 30 pounds. Inside, morphine syrettes, sulfanilamide powder, bandages, tourniquets, plasma, scissors, forceps, needles, thread for suturing wounds, aspirin, water purification tablets, and a dozen other items. Everything a medic needs to keep a man alive until he can reach a surgeon. Then there's the mental weight. The knowledge that every time you run out into enemy fire to save someone, you might not come back. That the next bullet might have your name on it. That you might end up as a casualty yourself, becoming another man for another medic to drag to safety. The medics at Normandy carried that weight all day, some of them for years afterward. By mid-morning, Omaha Beach is a slaughterhouse. The initial assault has stalled. Men are pinned down behind the seawall, behind beach obstacles, in shell craters. The Germans on the bluffs have clear fields of fire. Nothing moves without being shot at. The medics move anyway. Thomas Horn, a medic with the 1st Infantry Division, spends 4 hours crawling from wounded man to wounded man. He stays low, uses the bodies of the dead for cover, moves when the German gunners are focused elsewhere. It's brutal, calculating work. You can't save everyone. You have to trio. The man with his legs blown off, he's probably going to die no matter what you do. The man with the sucking chest wound, if you conceal it, plug it, he might make it. The man with the superficial shrapnel wounds, he can wait. You make these decisions in seconds, and you live with them forever. Horn treats 15 men before noon. Then a German shell lands 20 feet away. Shrapnel tears through his left leg, his left arm. He's wounded. Another medic runs to him, starts treating him. Horn tries to wave him off. "I'm fine, help the others." The medic ignores him, stops the bleeding, gets him to the aid station. Horn will be back on duty in 3 weeks. Wounded again in Germany. Survive the war. Spend the rest of his life walking with a limp and refusing to talk about Normandy. Here's something most people don't know about the medics at Normandy. They didn't just treat soldiers. They treated everyone. American soldiers, obviously. That's their job. but also French civilians caught in the crossfire, wounded German prisoners, anyone who needed help. After the initial assault, after the Americans finally break through the German defenses and start moving inland, the medics find French families huddled in bombed-out houses, children with shrapnel wounds, old people with blast injuries, women in shock. The medics treat them, use their precious medical supplies on people who aren't soldiers, aren't Americans, aren't even fighting. Because that's what medics do. They save lives. And the German prisoners. After the battle, hundreds of German soldiers surrender. Many are wounded. Standard procedure is to treat your own casualties first, enemy casualties second. But some medics can't walk past a wounded man, any wounded man, without helping. They patch up Germans who were shooting at them hours before. Give them morphine, bandages, water. Save their lives. Some American soldiers don't understand this. Why are you helping them? They tried to kill us. The medics shrug. He's wounded. He needs help. That's the medic mindset. It's not about politics or patriotism or revenge. It's about the man in front of you who's bleeding and in pain and needs someone to care. By late afternoon, the situation on Omaha Beach stabilizes. The Americans have pushed inland. Engineers have cleared paths through the obstacles. More troops are landing, more supplies, more equipment, and more casualties. The battalion aid stations are overwhelmed. Doctors perform surgery on makeshift tables in church basements, in farmhouses, in the open air. They work by candlelight, by flashlight, sometimes in total darkness. They amputate limbs, remove shrapnel, tie off arteries. The medics keep bringing in wounded, all night long, into the next day, into the next week. The Normandy campaign will last 77 days. The Americans will suffer 29,000 casualties. The medics will treat them all. Some statistics. During World War II, approximately 95% of American soldiers who received medical treatment survived their wounds. 95%. In World War I, that number was 75%. In the Civil War, it was 50%. The medics of World War II saved lives at a rate unprecedented in military history. And they did it in the most dangerous conditions imaginable. Omaha Beach on D-Day had a 5% casualty rate for medics. That's actually low for combat medics. In some battles, the casualty rate for medics was higher than for regular infantry. Because medics had to go places infantry wouldn't. Had to expose themselves to save others. Charles Shea, the Penobscot Indian from Maine, the medic we started with, will fight through France, Belgium, Germany. He'll be wounded, recover, return to duty. After the war, he'll go home to Maine, work for the Veterans Administration, become an advocate for Native American veterans. In 2007, he'll return to Normandy for the first time since 1944. He's 83 years old. He'll walk down to Omaha Beach, stand in the surf where he pulled men from the water 63 years before. A French official will approach him, thank him for liberating France. Shea will start crying. "I was just doing my job," he'll say. In 2019, at age 94, Charles Shea will be present at the 75th anniversary of D-Day. French President Emmanuel Macron will present him with the Legion of Honor, France's highest award. Shea will be one of the last surviving medics of Omaha Beach. He'll die in 2021 at age 96. They'll bury him with full military honors. Robert Wright, the medic with the 29th Infantry Division, will survive Normandy. He'll fight through the Rhineland into Germany. He'll be wounded twice more. After the war, he'll go home to Virginia, become a pharmacist. He'll never talk about what he did on Omaha Beach. His family will find his Silver Star medal in a shoebox in his closet after he dies. He never told them he'd earned it. Edward Moreswick's Company A, 116th Infantry Regiment, will survive D-Day but be killed in action 3 weeks later near St. Lo. He's 20 years old. They'll bury him at the Normandy American Cemetery, one of 9,388 Americans who never came home. His Silver Star will be awarded posthumously. His mother will receive it at a ceremony in Boston. She'll keep it on her mantle for the rest of her life. Here's what the story of the American Medics of Normandy tells us. Courage isn't always about charging forward with a rifle. Sometimes courage is running into machine gun fire with nothing but a medical bag and the desperate need to help. The medics at Normandy didn't kill Germans. They didn't capture territory. They didn't destroy enemy positions. Their job was simpler and harder. Keep their brothers alive. And they did it, again and again, all day long on June 6, 1944. Through the next day, the next week, the next month. They crawled through mud and blood and bodies. They worked under fire, under impossible conditions, with inadequate supplies and overwhelming casualties. They made split-second decisions about who to treat, who to save, who to leave behind. And they lived with those decisions forever. General Omar Bradley, commander of the 1st U.S. Army, visited Omaha Beach on the evening of D-Day. He walked past the dead, past the wounded, past the burned-out vehicles and shattered obstacles. He stopped at an aid station, watched the medics working. Young men, exhausted, covered in other people's blood, still treating casualties. These are the real heroes, Bradley said. The men who run toward the screaming. Most of the medics of Normandy never received medals. Never got public recognition. Never became famous. They went home after the war, got regular jobs, lived regular lives. They didn't write books or give speeches or capitalize on their service. They just went back to being regular people. People who happened to spend one day, or 1 week, or 1 month running into enemy fire to drag their brothers to safety. There's a memorial at the Normandy American Cemetery. 9,388 white crosses and stars of David on a bluff overlooking Omaha Beach. Many of those graves belong to medics, men who died trying to save others. If you ever visit, walk slowly through the rows. Look at the dates. June 6, 1944. June 7th, June 8th. Young men, 18, 19, 20 years old. Medics who gave everything. And remember this. They didn't carry guns. They carried bandages. They didn't take lives. They saved them. They ran toward the screaming when every instinct said run away. That's what a medic does. That's what the American Medics of Normandy did. That's what courage looks like.